So I'm looking maybe towards the more aggressive members on side. I'm looking at Leon on that Jaeger. I'm wanting to keep a close eye on where he's positioning himself, how far away from his team he's roaming. As you can see right now, he is pretty far away. If they can catch him out here and isolate him and pinch him nice and early on, that could be a real big loss to Rogue early on in the round.
Leon is one of those players that can be an atrocity if he is left to his own devices, but as you said, G2 have all the utility that they need to hunt down individual players. I mean, imagine Nomad, Jackal, Dekaibi all at the same time. But Leon will go back up downstairs and help out Corey at the top here. If there's anything I'm a bit weary of with G2's lineup, is a lack of explosives. It's just the two breaching rounds from the Ash to destroy castle barricades, or in this case, the Maestro cameras and the shields. So really we're going to be looking at Kanto to use those effectively.
Yeah, we do have a lot of stuns. The smokes on side, mind you, to burn through those magnets and the ADS from Leon, but let's not forget that is a lot of grenade destruction. So you're going to have to make those breaching rounds count. A nice bandit trick coming through there onto the study wall, but Leon's already got in and found himself too. What more do you need to see from such a capable fragger like this to shut down Kanto and Uno? And even though we can hear the ringing in our ear from such coming through there onto lots of grenade destruction, mind you, to burn through those magnets and the ADS from Leon, but let's not forget that is a lot of so you're going to have to make those breaching rounds count. A nice bandit trick coming through there onto the study wall, but Leon's already got in and found himself too. What more do you need to see from such a capable fragger like this to shut down Kanto and Uno? And even though we can hear the ringing... Mayonnaise取ってくる 結構前見な。 in our ears as the players can. Educating will be removed from the field.
入るのがきつそうだもんな。
This hold at top brown seems to be too good for G2 to overcome, but Virtue strikes true. Can't find a second. Corey once again behind the shield. Eventually toppled there by Pengu, got the confidence to take up that push. But no soft destruction, no explosives left to destroy the Maestro. Eagle Eye at the end of the hallway. It's just on Pengu and Citizen. Your UK brethren to make this happen here against 3 players from Rogue.
We've still got 60 seconds left as well. This isn't even an end of round rush or anything like that. It's just descended into a bit of chaos in the round. As you say, still 5 left alive right here. G2 can take a breather, rescope, and imagine what these 2 players need to be doing together. Citizen has still got a drone in the back pocket and 1 on the field, I imagine, for a bit of flank watch. So they do still have the option to play with here and a bit of time to make use of it. But you're coming in here against 2 smoke canisters from Karjeka, who will be able to deal with you as you try and go. So mindful of that as this tries to get even lower. A bit of a blind run straight into the back corner here, and potentially a plant was about to come out from Pengu. And that smoke not going to touch him, just dead in the middle there, like shit passing in the night. Citizen finds 1 onto Rips. It's into a 2 versus 2 with 20 seconds left, and it's all down to Karjeka and Aces here. No doubt 2 of the most capable players you will see in Europe. Equally, the plant is going down from one of the most capable players in Pengu. Going to find his Kelly, stands up and sprays him down. Goes back down for the plant once more. Going to try and go behind the door. How on earth have G2 made this 2v3 work? This is why they are heralded as one of the best in Europe.
Unbelievable clutch from Citizen and Pengu, stepping it up. Man, you just don't see that every day, do ya? 2 versus 3. Rogue had everything going for them. Karjeka, all he needed to do was land the gas close enough for 1 whiff from Pengu, and he would have gone down so low on HP. But no, Karjeka decided to put those gas canisters a bit more central. bit more of a predictable spot.
Pengu
Nice
no
positioning from Pengu to
入った
just dance away
position
from
も良か
those
った
and
ね
eventually
今の
take the fight when it was needed. But if G2 can win a round after a deficit like that, then there's no limit to what they can do.
Attackers need to locate
Like
and
Pengu was
defuse
trying to
bombs.
climb the walls with how close he was sticking there. If the floor was lava, he
めちゃめちゃ良
was
く
trying
て
his very best to win it. Now I understand why the smoke
一
cannons
ずつ
were
枯れた
coming out where they were, right? There was some assumption he'd rushed in. They knew this because they saw him go across, didn't get killed in the process. Nice little grenade timing out there to make sure he couldn't be shot at the same time. But it was more they expected to go down behind the table inside of Aviator that come back to fight them. And as you said, very, very nice side by side of the Smokings and managed to walk away pretty much
そういうところ
uncontested. When the
で
contest did come through, it's Pengu who pulls his head off the diffuser, finds himself a free kill and straight back on it. Beautifully executed from the two boys on G2. Let's see now if we return back down to this site, how things might play out differently. Let's not forget that Leon found those 2 kills very early on at the start of last round, about 60 seconds in or so, and we thought it was night, curtains closed, it was lights out for the side of G2, but no, they managed to somehow dig deep and come back and bring it in. So let's see if they can do something a bit different here and maybe upset G2 a little bit easier. Speaking of which, G2 are changing up tack and looking to push in from the north side of the map instead.
I like this adaptation from G2 to go for that roam clear instead of brute forcing the top round stairs, because in my eyes, G2's team composition just does not favor clearing top round stairs. Yes, there's tons of stun grenades to clear out the magnets and the ADSs from Jaeger, but just only relying on the 2 breaching rounds from Ash isn't enough. You've got 1 deployable shield to destroy and 2 Evil Eyes. You only have 2 Ash charges. You can't get rid of it all. So G2 looking to opt for pushing the other side of the map. They can roam clear quite effectively with the utility they're bringing to the table, particularly the Jackal, the Nomad, and the Dokaibi. Once they take control, likely I expect up through 90. I mean, honestly, G2's actually changing tack a little bit. They're going all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, there's a majorly north approach coming to this one, right? It's the conventional take, I think you might say, where you might put someone inside a study to do a bit of contest from the south, but then send your team clearing from the north, making sure that you're air jabbing red, you're air jabbing Astro stairs, so you've got no chance of someone like Leon looking to cause trouble a little bit later on. You saw an attempted C4 coming out of aces there, just narrowly missing on Pengu, so the hard breacher will remain for now. I guess the question on their side is if they're not pushing down towards the south side, what is their plan for these hard breaching rounds for the Kairos? Uno's going to open up onto Leon, so he will not be able to have that impact he did last time. Looking like it might be a pretty kill-light round for Rogue if things carry on the way they did last time.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
The Dokaibi Logic Bomb rings out. Uno looking for that roam clear. He found that one player, that impact fragger from Leon. I think that
その主催に来た
Oriak's
ペングが
deployable
め
shield
んど
to
いね
face
そ
90.
れ
Really
が多分
like
一緒
that
打てるか
maneuver
らロ
there.
グ的に分かりたいんだけど
See, I don't know where the deployable shield is now, to be honest.
Has he got it in his back pocket still? It was in his back pocket, I think. No, it's not. Put it down.
Not,
Where is
not
it?
anymore. I don't know, color me confused, but hey, Rogue seemed to be trying to counter this 90 push. Oh yeah, no, it is actually in cluster, so perfect. Yeah, he did move it to help counter that 90 push, but one of the things that G2 struggled with right here is the wall denial. Karzeka does find one, and the study wall is somewhat opened up. Virtue to find another, and now ascend into the bomb site. G2 have changed tack and decided to go for a study push after all.
Yeah, they secured the north so they can have someone holding on here in case it is a later round roam coming through. Maybe he's trying to pinch onto Aces, who earlier on was downstairs. No way they managed to get him. Try and stick it, but Aces finds a double. Fantastic aggressive run there with a pistol nonetheless to find the kill. And Kanto trades one back. It's still a 1 versus 2. Rogue are in a spot where with 10 seconds left, all they have to do is hold on here. They will find the angle, and Rogue will take round number 2.
やっぱそこは
I don't know
強
what
い
to say,
ね
James. This is going to be one hell of a map.
今打ってるとこ
I
開けるだけで
really don't know what happened there. I mean, for a moment it looked like G2 actually
反
had
対から攻められた時でも
possibility on the cards, but
主催をキープしていく
Yeah,
っていう
I mean,
行動自体が強くなる
you
か
know,
ら
Ace ain't gonna
I
let
mean-
that happen.
Yeah. There's a fair question when like you just leave your planter behind the door by himself and no one else is covering the angle, right? Because someone standing there maybe on a study door looking in towards Aviator would have given enough cover to be able to catch Aces before he managed to charge his way through. I think they did try and go for that, but the one that was trying to cover got hit by a headshot from him straight away before he turned around and got the second onto Pengu. So it's like, well, what can you do when someone on the enemy team literally runs at you and takes down 2 players with a pistol? There isn't a whole lot you can do is the answer. And it was well played by him to take the initiative there and show us and remind us why he was the top fragger of the season. I think he was 3 or 4 kills ahead of Shaiko when it comes to the KD overall, or the Nets KD. So I think between him and the rest of the team, as we said a number of times, the accolades and experience they hold between them, it is very hard to write them off. That being said, though, I have heard from a couple of sources. I suppose I've had a good chat with 1 or 2 of them. They have said, you know, it's still a learning process. We are still a team that's still trying to gel. although we had a relatively good run at the EOC, that was really our first week of playing together. So if we saw what they could do back then, and it was pretty successful overall, falling by the wayside to teams like Virtus Pro, who we saw play earlier on today, maybe shockingly not as well as we would have assumed from them, there is much more to come from this Rogue side. And I'm still kind of in the back of my mind thinking that on the side of G2, they just got more experience, they've got more about them than maybe Rogue have. But again, I think in this competition now, you just cannot afford to write any team off early.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Rogue's definitely one to look out for. Leon and Kazeka both being highlight players from their previous rosters. I mean, Kazeka was not necessarily always at the top of the scoreboard for Empire, but definitely a notable player. Rogue do pivot
Mr.
now.
Consistent, I call him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, I like that. Rogue now going to pivot over to kitchen, dining, bomb site defense. And look, honestly, G2's team composition is likely going to favor this even more heavily. Just emphasizing that roam clear. As we know, Leon was shut down the previous round on that roam, but he switched over to the Oryx, and newest operator just come out in the comp this season. Be interested to see how he can make his rotations, make the most of his Remar dash and the jumping up through hatches. Hopefully it's impactful. I'd love to see it.
I know a few teams have been quite hesitant to use him because the fact that you still inflict damage on yourself playing on this is not really pleasant. But I think in the case of Leon now that you're running around with an MP5, you're in a spot where your gun's actually really decent. You do have this ability to make quick rotations. You can actually be useful during the setup as long as you don't mind tanking a bit of HP. But you'll notice from Leon, he hasn't taken any damage, therefore hasn't been smashing down any walls. He is solely focused on being this roamer with the rapid rotation ability, making use of his, well, utility in that case.
Great usage of the pulse scanner here, the cardiac sensor from Corey, destroying that proximity alarm. Is Kanto looking to push in through China potentially? Just checking Mod, and there's the kill onto Aces. Nice one there. Tame these roamers. G2 looking to be in a prime position. Couldn't take out the default count. Bit of a whoopsie, but it's all right. Now your cameras are mine, says Dakavi. Uses that tablet to hack into the defensive cameras. Rogue needs to be over their shoulder after that one. And G2 in the driver's seat here, but when this execute come about, there's plenty of time to make it happen.
I like how they're playing this very controlled game so far, very drone heavy, very much based around these intel operators, but Kanto's popping off in this round, already got himself 3. Can he make it the final 2 to get the ace? But behind him, Tengu is going for the plant. It was Ace's last round working the magic. This time around it's Kanto. No way! Ace! What more do you need to see from this man? From the first flick onto Ace's head in the opening duel, all the way through. That's how you drag a team through and say, Aces who, sorry?
Can I just say that we are absolutely in for a treat, Des. Like, we have been spoiled tonight with this match. I am ecstatic. This is just nuts. And G2 showing us a real good fight. I mean, look, Kanto, he had 1 kill before that, and then he just is like, oh, see you guys later. I'm just going to go have fun at the top of the scoreboard. You guys hang out down there.
Didn't want to be outdone by Aces, essentially, is what I'm seeing there. I thought at the very start when we saw the 1v1 come through, I was like, the fact he's snapping ahead like that just shows it's an Aces, sorry, a Kanto kind of day. And although Aces did pretty well in the last round, well, he didn't want to be, he needs to be exceeded in the next round. So just back on an earlier point I made in that round, though, the operator lineup coming out of the side of G2 just screams to me that it is all about this control coming in against Rogue. It doesn't matter where they're sitting, they are going to be ringing them, they're going to be tracking them down with the Jackal, they'll have Kanto doing his own kind of hunting that doesn't require any kind of gadgets, and Citizen making sure that the journey behind them is nice and safe with those air jabs. It is very controlled and very restrictive against Rogue, who I think so far are not being able to make use of this aggressive roaming style that we like to see. Operators like players like Aces and Leon, who we saw back in the first round, working a bit of magic with an opening double kill. It's going to take a while, I think, for Rogue to really fit into this sort of style. And although we only have 3 rounds to go of this first half until we switch over, it feels like it's gone by lightning fast. It's going to take a little bit more time. I think maybe this round goes the same way of Rogue, and then, sorry, G2, and then maybe in the last couple of rounds, Rogue start to find their way back in. But so far, this has been an excellent attacking half from G2.
I'm glad that Rogue has decided to rotate bomb sites though and head up to stat and trophy, because to be honest, the way I'm looking at this right now is G2 is just doing so good at countering the roamers. So Rogue clearly want to play in that style. That's the kind of thing that we expect to see from players like Leon and Aces. They're just so exemplary at roaming. But when the entire of G2 is structuring really their team comp, but their play style around countering that, you can't rely on that. And the round that Rogue won was actually when they decided to sit right on the side. They used the bandits to really deny a lot of walls. Good plant denial, and I mean, hey, that's kind of most of the work done for you. You force the attackers to funnel into the choke points. But if Rogue keep playing into G2's hands, you can see here, Leon's actually been spotted out on a well-placed drone from Uno. He's just flicking that one. He's likely to be punished here. I just don't see Rogue going to have much success here on this roam.
I like how they got the intent right. The C4 attempt is never bad, especially with an extra kill onto Pengu. Nice and free for them. Despite that intel being there, he can still manage to find a kill and get away on his skin. Now for him to get him back to join his team. They have someone watching the flank here. They'll be able to catch him, but a second C4 comes in. Just as I spent a good 30 seconds speaking about deployment, both of them come up big with massive C4 kills without even firing a single bullet.
遊撃が多いから現地行こうっていう感じで言うのを
player makes such an impact last round. Shut down here. Virtue and Citizen to push on through the bedroom. Flashing at the position of Leon. Player who was not punished, in fact. Uno in a tough spot. The edge. Bring out, what's that? Hello, a little bit of a trade there from Citizen. Uno finds one as well. Suddenly this might be possible. Maybe I should take that back. Spoke too soon. It's all on Citizen. Make it a 1v2 now. Still in for the round. Make that a 1 versus 1. No way. This is Citizen's moment. Des, I'm going to let you take this one. He's the Brit. You're the Brit. What's he going to do?
It's him up against Aces here as well. We've seen Citizen go for such big clutches so many times over. Stepping up close, not quite managing to land shots from either side. But now they've at least got the idea on where the other is. And Citizen, a little bit of smartness there as well, I thought. 45 seconds left on the drones. Not really a bad shout for him. But Aces is just waiting for him to step into a site. You can almost see how they're like circling around the block at the same time together, never really quite crossing paths. It's like two ships passing each other in the night. But at some point, someone has got to land this crucial shot. With 30 seconds left, that time is starting to run low for the side of G2. Going to be Citizen who's got to try and find this aggressive angle, but so far a little tentative in his steps. Doesn't want to get himself over aggressive. Going to even try and go for a plant. It is the Cardinal sin in a 1 versus 1. Tries to go for the bait out. He sees Aces slip past, but not quite managing to land a shot just yet. How long can Aces bait that out for? Because now Citizen has got to stick this, or he's got to find a kill. The bait comes through. He's got to contest it. He's does it again. This man from the UK, hashtag UK massive, I'll take it.
Let that sit with you for a moment for G2. Says you can't contain yourself. G2.
What can I say? I love UK boys going big. What can I say?
Look at it say.
Absolute masterclass here from G2. When a player needs to step up, they do just that. And that Citizen for the second time stepping up hugely. It was the 2 versus 3. Didn't need Pengu this time though to make it happen. And man, I mean, I feel like every which round there's another amazing performance from an individual on G2. You know, Kanto's had his ace, Pengu and Citizen have had their 2v3, and then Citizen just goes and does that. When is it going to stop? And Rogue, what are you going to do to make some kind of fight?
2回もクレットされたったね。
Two rounds now where we've seen Rogue find 2 opening kills. In the first round it was Leon finding 2 and they still went on to lose it. In that round just then, 2 opening C4 kills from Leon and Aces who couldn't be controlled on the roam despite the setup coming out of G2. Citizen says, 2v2? Nah. Fancy me a 1 versus 4 and still manages to turn things around in favour. More like a 1v3 I think it was, but it sounds so much better when you paint it as 1 versus 4. Incredible stuff. And of course, we liked, I can't remember because there was too much going on at the end and I was like, man, this is so exciting. Oh, either way.
Like it. Yeah, either way it was bloody amazing. Hats off to the man. He's, and look, we're talking about
同じような守り方だね。
The golden jewel in the crown of Na'Vi, especially pivotal in their championship in Tokoname for the Pro League Season 10, and gets picked up by the most well-renowned team in Rainbow Six history, and then he gets spawn picked. Aces gets his revenge. See you later, Ben. You know, go and sit down. Go get ahead of yourselves too early. And I like that Aces, after losing that 1v1, he's got the confidence to just go and throw it back in his face. Yeah.
Well, both of them have in this case, right? I mean, he's playing on the C4 again. Maybe upstairs, not the most ideal place to be using a C4, but can, of course, throw it out window if he fancies his chances. Very aggressive here, and he goes someone on that window. Doesn't manage to find a kill. Equally isn't brought down himself. And now they've got a bit of a tag on what's going on with Aces. Try and go aggressive. C4 the window! Doesn't step away in time, and it's going to be Aces with his second, and your boy in Virtue has gone down.
Aces has said, look, I don't like losing, so I'm just not gonna. Gonna make some big moves here and shut down some of your best players. And look, G2, it's the old core. Gonna have to make it work now. Kanto, we've seen him go big thus far with an ace. What G2 got to show for it. Leon on this roam
こうやって
downstairs. Uno
攻め方自体が多種多様にあるのって
pushing up blue.
すごい相手としてはやりづらいから、それが決まるかどうかだけど。
Getting himself droned in for the start there, but I think it just kind of became one of those where, well, we're being very careful about this. And Leon equally, although he loves to run around and, you know, gun some fools down, you really want. In this case, they are a fool, except this time it's gone the other way. It's Rips who's gone down nice and early on the Maestro. So this is technically a 4 versus 3. Rips should be able to get recover, mind you, as long as they're very wary of what's going on downstairs. But good from G2 to identify that Rogue have abandoned this downstairs road. Aces wasn't down there. Leon wasn't down there, as he's in study finding himself yet another kill in this round. Now, vertical play almost got them a result, but just not quite enough to pull this round back the way that they want. Now they've got to try and deal through all this utility that has been set up by the side of Rogue. 5 versus 2 with just 50 seconds left on the clock. We are seeing Rogue warming into things here, but we know what happens in some of these rounds. However, Uno, I think for 1 versus 5, maybe just a little bit too much to ask. But
Easy
sure enough,
when I
Michelle, Rogue takes the flawless round. And we keep on saying it, the back and forth nature of this game, it is so difficult to call how any single round is going to go. You can't even count on the first couple of kills to tell you how it's going to conclude.
Shows these teams playing tit for tat at the moment. Rogue say, well, look, you're going to come back from a deficit and we're going to assert our dominance with some early aggression. G2 didn't have anything to pull together. I was a bit confused by their strategy. They're kind of primarily going for that roam clear downstairs, but oh well. Rogue get nice back into the game here. And look, honestly, if we're looking at a 3-3 split, maybe this is possible for either team. Honestly, like even 4-2 here for G2, I wouldn't count out Rogue.
It's hard, right? Because a few seconds ago when it was 2-1, we were saying, oh, surely Rogue take this round. It's 2-2, like they're in a spot where it's them all versus Citizen by themselves, and it should be easy enough. As it balls out, absolutely not the case. In that last round, a prime story of it doesn't matter if someone clutches the previous round, Rogue can still swing things back. So I think how things have shaped up so far is generally I'd say that Rogue have actually been getting quite a bit of leverage out of this roam play. I thought for the longest time that G2, with the competitions they were bringing, would really have that under lock and hammer, and there was just no way we would see Rogue able to execute their game plan. But G2 have got a bit sloppy in the last 2 or 3 rounds, I'd say. They have let Rogue play this game, and despite an excellent clutch from the side of Citizen, I still don't feel that it's really... It's not as controlling as what you would expect as a team that is constantly at the upper echelons of play, competing into most of the quarterfinals.
なんかそこの ADS 流行ってるっていうか結構前からあるけど、
It's not super.
あれラップで壊せる
We'll see how
みたいな話あるよな。
If Rogue can take this round, I think that would be very good for them. If they lose it, 4-2 on the defensive half of Villa.
ワンチャンあそこにマイストロカメラ置くの強いかも。
Stat bomb site here for
この前この壁で切れてかれたんだよ。
Haven't really made a lot of change in their operator lineup. Uno's dance between a couple, the Maverick, the Dirk Hibby, but sitting on the Capitao at the moment.
あそこ壊れるんだよ。
Watch the desk, not gonna lie. Can't really see anything in the game right now. My feeling is
早いね、一回踊るのが。でも
not
まだ
great.
一回にしてる。
Mate, what can I say? Look, Virtue's not having a good time, and it's rubbing off on you is the best way I'll describe it. Right? Citizen's going to finally open the scoring up this round. So, by pushing in downstairs, they have managed to deal with the more aggressive side of things here and have at least managed to contest on and catch out on towards Leon. So I like that they're starting to mobilize here and look to shut down what's coming in on the other side. Now they need to try and find out where Ace is. And I think so far with him playing downstairs as well, or at least on the red stairs, they are in a spot to be able to contest that somewhat. So time will tell. We'll see if he can achieve anything from this position, as we've seen him being quite a couple of times. But Kanto has joined Citizen on this downstairs, got himself into a spot where they can start opening up this master wall from below. It's a good control so far from G2. It's more of what I expected to see, more being focused around the controlling side of things. 3-2, as said, 90 seconds left in this round. Let's see how much more they can turn around and achieve. Corey's finding himself at the back near Astro, so there's some tendency, some taste, some ideal ability to try and cause some disruption to the side of G2, who are so far playing on the downstairs. But the way it sits, well, not really managed to find much just yet outside of Leon going down earlier on in the round. It's been one of the more peaceful rounds. Now, I am told I'm slightly solo for a second, as Dev has gone to try and make sure that he can actually watch the game. We'll find out if he joins us again in just a few seconds. G2 have got themselves upstairs now, and now that they've dealt with the electrification coming in onto this master wall, should be in a spot to start looking to go for an execute onto site. They have the tools to do so. They've got the capital. All of his utilities still sat in a prime position to make something happen. They've got the smokes coming out of the jackal. They've got an endless number of flashes to burn through these ADSs if they need them, and you can see them now slowly getting themselves in position, ready for this assault. Rogue are holding fast towards the west and setting themselves in a, dare I say, comfortable spot here. They're not looking to contest too soon. I imagine a lot of this is going to be inspired by the last second execution by G2. One smoke comes out, it's going to turn fire by the other side. 2 kills all the way of G2. It's a 5 versus 2. The doors, everything has been smoked out. Not that it matters because Kanto has done it again. It's a flawless round for the side of G2. How on earth do you stop these kids from doing this time after time? We've seen Rogue flawless rounds. We've seen clutches from the other side. We've just seen a flawless round by G2. That came down to almost flawless execution. Getting downstairs, getting the vertical work done earlier on, making sure they cleaned up those who were trying to run downstairs, in which case it was just Leon by himself. I think Ace has got cold feet, and maybe Corey as well trying to push down Astro stairs. Got himself a little bit caught out on the backside and didn't want to see himself being tested blindly around a corner. So fair play by trying to be defensive, but that execute from G2 was just all too comfortable. No one there to try and disrupt them or upset them, and we saw exactly how things played out. We now get to switch halves, and we'll see how things change up here. We'll see what the stance coming out of the other side is. G2 going for a very controlling setup so far on their attacks. Here on the defensive side, it may come down to being very disruption-based. We're seeing the castles trying to bring out the utility from the other side, and I guess the question mark you look at is, are we going to see similar to what we saw between BDS and Vitality? Earlier on, we saw Shaiko pretty much being at the door every single time Vitality wanted to get inside the map. What were they doing? Bringing down the Ash and bringing down the Zofia. They were removing this air safe range rotate or utility destroying gadgets and making sure there was no possibility of being able to remove things like the Evil Eyes or other cameras spaced around the map. Nice replay on screen for you there, just so you can see how flawless this came through. It was the Kanto rotate coming across 90, looking in towards sight, that made that far too easy for them. A very big setup coming in here into Master. You can see Virtue's playing inside the closet as well. And that whole wall has been opened up in towards the bathroom. So this is them screaming, we know what's coming, we know there's going to be a Master push, and we want to make sure we're trying to contest that. Elsewhere, you've got Kanto doing a bit of work, making sure there are castle barricades down, and Citizen, well, just like his trusty compatriot in Leon, probably going to go on a roam as well and try and cause some trouble. His whole goal here is to try and waste some time. It's currently set at the point where they're going to try and take over study, so they know they've got to deal with what's going in on the south side. Let's find out what happens. See how things set up. I am told, believe it or not, that Hap is going to be joining me. Hello, good sir. Trust the old Hap. Save the day on my pit. Talk to you in real time.
That match of the day right here to go in, but I saw some hefty plays to come through, and we're starting straight off with the Ungates being taken out right here by Kanto, who gets traded instead. It's a big trade fest so far, it looks like, isn't it, Des?
It has been a trade fest, it has been a round trade fest, not even just in this. Flawless rounds on both sides, constant 1vx's coming out of all sides. It is absolutely crazy, and the kind of thing you expected to see when these two teams locked heads together and really went to it. 2 minutes in though, we have finally seen the side of Rogue get control of the south side of the map. You can see Corey looking to play on Wolf window here on the Iana. In case you're wondering why you see Iana so much, we did see her in the first couple of rounds of coastline between BDS and Vitality. It is basically a free drone. Later in the round, when most of the drones are down or are sat playing flank watch, you have the capability to make use of these and cause quite a bit of trouble.
Yeah, definitely so. 4-2 current scoreline. We just had this swap going over. Rogue is 1 man down. Kento, well, has been down as well. Can the rest of G2 will carry this one home? Or are we going to see another amazing play come down from one of these players? Is it going to be Corey? Is it going to be Ripster? Is it going to be Kurzeka? Who can tell at this point? Because stuff just keeps on happening here, doesn't it?
It's so risky. They've abandoned the whole south push. They've been spending the last 90 seconds getting prepped and now starting to master. And Uno's in a spot here where he can cause so much damage that they haven't got any drones in here. They don't know that he's in this spot. And looking on the side of Rogue, they only have a couple of drones left on site. It could be a massive spoiler for them if they aren't careful. So let's keep a close eye on him and what impact he looks to make as we see them try and push it towards Master. They haven't droned him out. They do not know he's there. They even had an Iana on side and still didn't know. It's a free kill coming through. Rogue are down to 2 left alive. G2 with 4. Let's just pray for the side of G2. There is a massive from the other side. Rips will find 1. Pengu trades it back the other way. It's a 1 versus 3. What more are you really asking from the side of Karjek?
フラバン投げてるから正面向けないからあれだったんだろうな。
I think it's pretty fair to say how we don't expect miracles to be worked here.
No, definitely don't expect miracles to be worked right here. It's Gerzeka, the last man standing, to go up against the 3 of G2 with 10 seconds on the clock. The diffuser is down. Smoke Genesis is now being popped. The only choice he has is to actually go for the frags in these last couple of seconds, but I doubt that's going to be happening. It's looking like G2 is going to be pulling in the 5th round, as indeed they do. The timer runs out, and they will be winning it.
I believe we're now doing the magical trade, I believe it's called. This is where the downenders return. Thank you very much, Hap, for your help. You have been a great assistance. And this is why having such a wonderfully flexible team enables us to do all these incredible things. Dev, has your internet stopped having a paddy about Virtue not doing so well?
Look, I'm sure that the Australian internet will get over it eventually. Cheers, Hap, for jumping in there. And cheers, Desertu. You're an absolute soldier, just smashing on through that one. And man, I wish I could have seen the last few rounds, but looking at it, from here, I mean, G2 5-2 up. It looks like Rogue do have an opportunity here, but G2 seem to be quite a look in ahead. Like, if you're looking over the past few rounds, what is the thing that G2 have that Rogue just don't seem to be able to deal with?
Well, I think the most difficult thing was the one round it came down to when G2 had a flawless round on an execute. They took over Master Bedroom. Rogue sat quite far back. They tried to have Leon on the roam, but he was collected very easily by the side of G2, who changed their tack and said, you know, rather than ignoring what's going on downstairs, let's send 2 members downstairs. Let's them go and get Leon and remove him from the field, and they did just that. And that flawless round has really kind of inspired them onwards. It looks like that last round on the defensive piece, Rogue spending 90 seconds trying to take study, abandoning it entirely, and then moving over to attack Master probably isn't the best, almost optimal use of time, should we say. Just like we said back in round 2 or 3. This team hasn't had a whole lot of time together. EOC was their first competition. They're looking at the side of G2 has had a little bit longer to gel, so let's not sing the absolute death knell here for the side of Rogue, but it is looking very, very uncomfortable, and G2 absolutely in a commanding position.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Just having a look at the kill distribution as well. I know we don't like to weigh too much on it, but Kojeko has really been struggling. He's been playing those support positions, so you don't expect him to necessarily be fragging out, but still just sitting on that one so far. Got to be feeling tough, especially, and I mean, as far as I'm aware, Kajeka obviously used to speak and play in Russian, and being on Team Empire, of course, and then transitioning onto an English-speaking team. I mean, that's quite a significant difference, and no doubt that affects everything you do, your confidence, your reaction time, instead of just immediately seeing something and your brain just saying it in your native language, having to transition here. I mean, that's got to surely affect how Kajeka has been feeling here on Rogue.
But it's like you try and hear me trying to remember call-outs in rank sometimes. It is painful. It's very, very different to cast in the game, I'll tell you that much. 60 seconds in, though, or 50 seconds in. That's another problem that I seem to endure. With 50 seconds in, we found ourselves in a spot where no one has died just yet. So Leon is not managed to find anyone roaming on the downstairs. Kanto's the guy you're looking at here as the big fragger on the team in this game. Made himself more than known multiple times over. Holding around towards the top floor here, just trying to extend up towards the north and catch out these members of Rogue as they try and go aggressive, or more than happily going to take over some drones as well. The biggest issue he faces now is if someone is pushed on the downstairs, he risks being pincered. So Rogue can afford to take their time. They still have utility with things like the capital. Looking at their drones, they've only got 4 left alive. 90 seconds into the round. G2 have done a brilliant job of cleaning these up, and they'll find yet another, not just a drone, but also a player. Down goes the capital.
Unbelievable that Kanto was able to punish Leon and from that position when Rogue were no doubt aware of it, and the Capital was the perfect operator to counter that position. The firebolts. Now, Rogue are really running from behind. A C4 for Uno. Kanto finds his umpteenth kill. 12 to his name, styling on Rogue right now. Rips and Corey, what he's got to show for us. Clearly not that much. Uno's on for the roam, and G2 cannot be contained. Rogue just barely scraping through for mere seconds, a whole minute to go, but it looks like G2 don't need that. A flawless round spearhead them onto match point.
前線を引かずにそこで守り切ったね。今のその赤回路ライン NL 赤回路180度のラインで守ろうっていうあれで守り切ったね。
And we look back in that first half and did see some flashes of brilliance coming out the side of the road. We could have argued it could have ended 3-3 if not for an incredible citizen clutch. But you might argue the same thing on one of the earlier rounds when Aces managed to find that 2K with a pistol. So with how things have shaped up so far, G2 definitely looking like the stronger team on the day. And now they find themselves one round away from closing this out at 7-2. We've had some ridiculously quick games today, right? We've had 7-1, 6-6, 7-1. It's looking like 7-2, and now the players are just saying, look, we want to put on a show. Let's get it done. So relax and breathe a little bit afterwards.
で株から
You want to talk
Here you
about
go.
Rogue for a minute and that clutch from Citizen, how that would have affected Rogue's mental state. Historically, Rogue have been a team that have been, in my eyes, significantly affected
いやー、
by
さ
this
っき
wave
のは
of
カントが引い
matches.
たと
They're a
思っ
team
たん
that
だろう
get
な
emotional when
レオン
they're
も
in a deficit. I feel like there's no better example
まあ
of
そ
that
こに
than
ADS 置いて守
Invitational
ると思
itself.
う
Yet
よ
another land
おてかオリッ
performance
ク
that
ス
was a
だいけなか
disappointment.
った
Derry, we were there. And you remember everyone talking about how Rogue left after group stages.
あー、こ
Absolutely
こ守
turned
り
off
だ
their
から
planet.
この
Rogue
リビン
was
グ
this team that
を
the losses always
取り返したりするの
and
に
it seems to be the same
使えるん
here.
だろうな
Every time G2 have just an ounce or even the tiniest teaspoon of success, Rogue just it seems to get
まああと
to them.
2回
This
に
is
登り
meant
で
to be a
すもんね
superstar team full of superstar players, but this definitely hasn't been a superstar performance so far.
It absolutely hasn't. And I think that should be the summary that the Rainbow Six EU account takes on Twitter and just tweets it. Superstar players, superstar team, but not a superstar performance. Is probably the best way I can describe it so far. But let's not forget they are coming up against superstars in their own right on their own right. Sorry, on the other side in G2. Right now they're looking to play around this intel they've got coming out of Virtue with the cardiac sensor. We've already seen this being used by BDS to such great effect on Coastline earlier on. Had all the intel they needed for players like Shaiko, for Brede to run off and have an absolute field day, charging around and picking
なん
up
かでも
those low
上がっ
snipers.
つり守ってる
Maybe
感じじゃなく
weren't
て
throwing in the corners in quite the right way. May yet turn out to be the same case
突
here.
き上
I'm
げと
looking
かねや
at
って
three
るんだ
C4s on the side of G2, and after how much C4 play we've seen already today, I'm quite excited about the prospects of us finding a couple more in this round to really close things out with an explosive end.
You know
あ
what's
今の
hyping
グレ
me,
普通に
Jerry,
テ
is
ク
the
ニカ
amount
ル
of variety we're seeing in operator selection. Yes, we have some of the staples. Oh, Rips is going to be counting his lucky stars after that one. But we see a couple of cheeky picks thrown in there. You got the Nook, you've got things like the Oryx from Kanso. And the C4 game has been just crazy so far. So back and forth, some hit their targets, some don't. But the amount of diversity that we're seeing in play styles. Wait, how many C4s
ああ
does
もう
this team
狙
have?
ってるのか
Three C4s.
だから C4 で切るっていうよりかはもうその同時にっていうか一緒くたなんだろうな多分その
That said,
C4 で切る
the low
取るのも
HP
プラスだし
taken off the board
テイ
thanks
ク
to
かける
Pengu with the
っていう
SMG11
動きも
and
するし
prolific
みたい
with
な
the gun.
そういう意
But whatever
識
Rogue
づけ
have
の
to show
意識づけっていうか
that
まあ
Nook
そういう
taken
あれ
out,
なんだ
that surprise element is no
だからど
more.
っちかに
But
固
this
ま
vertical play
ってないっ
established
ていう
nice
か
and
どっ
good, but
ちもっ
G2
ていう考
once
え
again
ってことなの
Pengu
か
peak and styling on Rogue right now. A minute left and in a 3 versus 5 staring down match point. I just don't see this happening for Rogue.
Now on the day itself, it doesn't look like Rogue
Name
are
it
quite
that,
the team
we'll
that
hang
maybe we
with
saw
it.
back at the EOC. It's week number 1, let's not forget, but as we said, for so many teams already today, there are only 5 weeks of play. There are 2 play days per week. You can't afford to have a bad week, because a bad week may well see you careering out of the top 4 and not qualifying for the major. Obviously, in this case, there is no major. It's more of a mini major, as we're starting to call it. But you still want to be in one of those top 4 spots to maximize those points you're getting towards SI 2021. Uno's going to find a kill again onto Corey, and this time it's a 5 versus 2. So, on the side of Rogue, there is an awful
オリックスである必要性が出てくるところあんまないけど
There
今
is
の
the
ところ
possibility, but Kanto goes, what possibility, my friend, as he's gone down as well. It's Rips all by himself, 2 frag grenades on side, and despite the vertical play coming through, despite feeling in control, things are looking incredibly lost for them right now. It's a 4 versus 1. They're contesting the vertical angle. Rips is going to find his second, but can he turn around and find another? There's one way to turn around the corner. No, they shall not. G2 are going to start off the season in dominant fashion, and Rogue have got a bit of work to do
防衛
before
の
Wednesday.
前線の引き方だったりとか、まあ、ガジェットとかいう小技じゃなくて
G2
そ
did
の
not let up through that
戦略
entire
的な
season.
前線の引き方がうまい。はい、今日の配信は終わり。お疲れ様です。